Okay, so good morning, everyone. For today's lesson, we are going to discuss on law enforcement organization and administration. Okay, an interagency approach. Okay, as provided by CMO 5 series of 2018. Okay, so this was uh, provided by the CMO, and it was newly introduced as a topic regarding this interagency approach. So I am Darwin Batawang, okay, your instructor or facilitator for this subject, Leia. And basically, of course, we have the course description for the subject, okay, which was at the same provided under the CMO. For this layer 1, it covers the organizational setup, okay, of relevant law enforcement or various law enforcement as well as public safety agencies, as you can see it here, okay, as a legal mandate, okay, or function in responsibilities in its functional relations, coordination, and cooperation with other law enforcement in public safety agencies. So basically, if you're going to internalize, of course, the course description, it is or it covers the different law enforcement areas, not only, of course, the police, but the other law enforcement areas or the other governmental law enforcement areas. Okay, so in layer 1, of course, this is this is basically the foundation of the subject layer, since it's layer 1. So we are going to deal with the with this. Okay, but before we go further, of course, let's discuss or go over the historical backgrounds regarding policing system. So to begin with, of course, we need to understand first, of course, okay, what's behind the creation of the policing system. Okay, so basically, of course, okay, the policing system, of course, was introduced, okay, to deal with the crimes committed. So dealing with the crimes committed by members of the community, in the sense that, of course, the idea behind, of course, the creation of the uh, policing system, okay, was to suppress, of course, criminal activities of the members of the community. And nonetheless, of course, the crime, of course, becomes a part, or it already becomes a part of the community, that happens every now and then, and that's the reason behind, of course, that it's already considered as a social phenomenon. Okay, so basically, somewhat one of the famous criminologists state it as crime as an ingredient of the normal society. So that's basically, okay, the idea on the reason behind the creation of the policing system. Okay, so as I mentioned a while back, of course, which we are going to deal with the historical background of the policing system, or the so-called police nowadays. So usually, of course, the on its historical background, the policing system, okay, roots back, of course, in the land of England. Okay, so we have at least four. Yeah, so we have there the first one as the Anglo-Saxon, okay, the Norman period, the Westminster period, as well as the modern period. Okay, now we are going to have them or discuss them one by one, okay, as we go along. So during the Anglo-Saxon period, of course, we have this what we so-called Thanis policing system. Okay. So under this Thanis policing system, okay, the landowners known to be the Thanis or Thanes as you may call it, was empowered, okay, to police their own territory as well as, okay, to arrest. Okay, take a look at this. Of course, they have the power, or they have been empowered to arrest offenders, okay, and to settle litigation. So if there are any complaints, okay, brought about by criminal activities, then of course the landowners or the thanis or the thanes, okay, can settle those things. And it was introduced by King Alfred the Great. Okay, so that's okay regarding this what we so-called thanis policing system during the Anglo-Saxon period. Yeah. So they were given, of course, the power, okay, to arrest. But take note, of course, that it's only limited within the areas or territories of those land owners. Okay, and then it was followed by this what we so called Frank Blades policing system. So what is all about? Of course, this what we so called Frank pledge policing system. So basically, of course, it's a mutual pledge, okay, wherein a male factor, okay, of 12 years of age, okay, joined, yan, 9 of his neighbors. So what are they going to do? They are going to perform police functions, okay? But if you're going to imagine that, 12 years of age. Ayan. So, medyo batang-bata pa, no? Okay? And then, mga kalalakihan, male factors, sabi niya doon. Okay? So, okay, they are going to, okay, form a group of 9 persons among their neighbors. Okay? And then, they are going to function as police. And they are known to be, this what we so-called tithing men. Okay? So, ayan, sila po yung magme-maintain ng peace and order within their community. Ayan. So, accordingly, of course, under this prompt pledge policing system, okay, failure to function, okay, or to join, ayan, yung tinatawag natin na tithing men, okay, you will be met, of course, with this what we so-called severe fine as a punishment or penalty for, okay, non-performance or, okay, for not joining, of course, the tithing men. Ayan. Okay, moving on. Okay, same as true, of course, still under Anglo-Saxon period, we have the TAN policing system. So under the TAN policing system, of course, it requires, okay, all male residents. Take note once again, okay, a while ago, during the Frank Pledge, okay, male factors pa rin yung pinag-uusapan. So puro mga kalalakihan. Okay, yung mga inuobliga nila, of course, okay, to guard, ayan, the town. Okay, so they are going to preserve peace and order, yan, protect life and property, as well as to suppress other factors affecting peace and order. Of course, if you're going to take a look at that or compare it nowadays, same as true, it goes along with the function of a police. While in fact, of course, under this, ayan, hindi naman nila sinasabi na talagang sila na ay police, but of course, okay, ang ginagampanan nilang trabaho or work, of course, okay, is somewhat aligned, of course, with the task of a certain police officer. So the word tan, okay, was the forerunner of the word town. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, of course, that they are going to function within their own specific area or territory. Yan. So, town, so within their town. Parang ganun siya. Okay? And then, yan. To continue with, of course, you have also the hue and cry policing system. So what is, okay, hue and cry all about? Yan. Usually, of course, this is carried out by a crime victim. Yan. So yung mga biktima ng krimen, yan, pupunta sila, okay, in the middle of the community and they are going to shout for help. Yan. So kung sino man yung mga nakarinig, okay, of course, for the cry of the victim will now, okay, move out and then, okay, yan, help the victim as well as to arrest the perpetrator as the case may be. Okay, that is, okay, during the Anglo-Saxon period. Yan. Okay, still we have the Anglo-Saxon period, and of course you have there the royal judge. So what is regarding this royal judge? So of course a royal judge conducts criminal investigation and gives appropriate punishment for the crime committed. Ayan. So yun po yung ginagawa ng isang royal judge. So umiikot po siya, and then of course nagkakandak po siya ng criminal investigation at nagbibigay din po siya ng tinatawag natin na punishment, okay, for the crime commission. Ayan. At ito po naman yung trial by ordeal na sinasabi nila. So, on this trial by ordeal, okay, a suspect is required to immerse, yan, okay, or put his hand over a boiling water, okay, or other similar task, of course, that may hurt the suspect. So, according to this trial by ordeal, if the suspect or the person who is suspected of committing a crime, okay, is hurt, then accordingly, the community will pronounce him guilty. But if it is not, then of course, it's the other way around. It's not guilty because of course he is not hurt. Okay, this is taken under the principle or belief behind that the God or God will always protect the innocent. Kaya yun yung sinasabi nila na pagka hindi raw na-hurt yung suspected person of committing a crime, then accordingly of course, okay, prinotektahan siya ni God, kaya hindi po siya na-hurt. That meaning to say, of course, he or the person is innocent. Okay? And then, of course, we have now the Norman period. So, moving on towards the historical background of policing system in England under Norman period. Okay? So, we have the Shire Reeve system. So, King Norman, yan, on his kingdom, he divided it into 55 districts. So, hinati-hati niya ngayon yung kanyang kingdom into districts. So, we have there 55 and it is known as Shire Reeves. Okay, so Shire, of course, it pertains to the district per district. And then Reeve, of course, you have it there referring to the ruler of the district. So, ano po ba yung ginagawa ng ruler ng district na yan? Or yung tinatawag nilang Reeve during those times? Of course, siya po yung gumagawa ng batas. So, this district ruler made laws, okay, as well as, of course, he renders judgment, and of course, nag-i-impose din po siya ng punishment or penalty for the violation of those laws. So, yun po yung Shire Reeve system, okay, during the Norman period. Okay, next one, of course, is the Court of the Thorn. So, regarding the Court of the Thorn, of course, it settles cases of petty crimes as well as civil matters. So, when we say petty crimes, of course, yun po yung mga tinatawag natin ngayon na mga minor offenses. Okay? So, yun po yung sinisital, okay, ng Court of the Thorn, okay, during the Norman period. Those minor cases. So, accordingly, of course, for serious cases, yan, 12 tithing men will be selected to hear it, and usually, of course, they are at the same time from the Court of the Thorn. So, kukuha po sila ng mga 12 na membro, okay, ng tithing men from the Court of the Thorn who will hear, okay, or settle serious cases. Yan. Okay, so accordingly, of course, it is where the concept of 12-member jury, okay, of today originated. But nonetheless, of course, the jury system applies, of course, on the English country, but not in our country, Philippines. Yan. And then, yan. So, yan po, yung sinasabi nila, yan. Body of persons, so, of course, yung jury na sinasabi nila, yan, those are persons who are selected from, okay, citizens of a particular district, yan, invested with a power to indict, yan. So, pwede po nilang mag-indict ng person for a public offense or to try a, okay, question of fact. So, yun po yung mga ginagampanan ng tinatawag nilang jury. Okay? Next one, of course, would be your court lead. Yan. So, the court lead basically handles local legal matters and petty village nuisances. Okay, so somewhat similar, of course, to the petty crimes na sinasabi nila. So, constable, which means master of the house, yan, is the head of the court lead. Okay, so ano po yung ginagawa niya? Of course, this was the person or the constable or the master of the house was appointed by the king, okay, to maintain peace and order within a specific area. But yan. So, yun po yung kanyang ginagampanan. So, if you're going to take a look at this, of course, same as true, similar with that of the task of police officers of today. Okay, but take note that they could be petitioned by local officials if this person is improperly performing his duty or task. Kaya pwede siyang maalis, pwede siyang alisin o i-petition ng mga local officials pagka hindi siya nagpa-function ng tama or hindi siya mag-perform ng kanyang function ng tama. Okay? Yan. So, constable, of course, accordingly, it becomes now constable. Yan. Okay? After a period, okay, of time, okay, which referred to the as members of police force. Pag sinabi kasi natin na constable, okay, ayan, ngayon, okay, they are basically, of course, okay, members of police force. Okay, so moving on. Yan, still under the Norman period, you have the Lewis Henry. Yan. So, this was passed during the time of King Henry I. So, under this Lewis Henry, of course, okay, or yung nakasaad dito, of course, okay, Lewis Henry na to, of course, is law violations, okay, are offense against the king. Yan. So, tinatawag ko na lahat po ng mga violations ay, okay, laban, okay, sa king or it is against the king. Ayan. Okay. And then, policemen were considered as public officials. Ayan. So, lumalabas na po na during this time, okay, Norman period under Lewis Henry, okay, is lumalabas na yung mga police officers, okay, during those times ay kinikilala na sila as public officials. And policemen and citizens are given the power to make arrest. Now, let us try to go over this. If we're going to compare this, okay, first one, the first provision of the Lewis Henry, that whereas law violations are considered as an offense against the king. Of course, in our country, Philippines, of course, it's against the state. Yan. So, kaya ang tinatawag doon is people, okay, versus, yan. Okay. The state or versus what we call that? Against the state of the Philippines. Yan. And then we have here also the policemen who are considered as public officials. So, of course, for now, if we are going to compare it in our country, Philippines, of course, police officers are considered as, okay, public officials. And then, of course, the third one there, policemen and citizens are given the power to make arrest. Of course, still, okay, police officers have the power to make arrest, of course, because it was mandated under their functions. And citizens, of course, can they make arrest? Of course, okay, yes, of course, that we have this what we so-called citizens arrest, where, okay, citizens can, okay, effect arrest if they can, okay, do so, of course. But take note that kailangan din nating isaalang-alang, of course, yung kanilang safety. Hindi sa porkit kaya nilang magsagawa ng arrest, okay, mag-a-arrest na sila. Of course, if there's safety is at risk, then most probably, of course, ayan. Kaya titignan din nila kung kaya nila o di kaya ay hindi. Ayan. So, ayan. Okay. So, in our country, of course, those provisions of the Lis Henry, okay, was incorporated to the legal system, and it was of course adopted, okay, or observed in our country at present. Okay? And then you have it there, of course, yung tinatawag natin keepers of the peace, still under the Norman period. Okay? Whereas, of course, it's a proclamation, okay, issued by the King Richard way back in 1195, which requires appointment of the knights. And if you have heard of it, and ano po yung ginagawa ng mga knights na yan, of course, they are going to maintain peace and order, okay, at the palace where the king is residing. Ayan. So, yun po yung ginagawa ng mga knights na yan. So, on the keepers of the peace, yan, nagbigay po yung si King Richard ng proclamation that of course, mag-a-appoint sila ng mga knights, and then sila po yung magiging or magsisilbing tawag natin dito, security, ayan, or to maintain peace and order, okay, at the palace of the king. Ayan. So, of course, take note that in our country, Philippines, if it would be compared, then, of course, ayan, the president, of course, is guarded by a special unit known as, okay, the PSG, or yung tinatawag natin na Presidential Security Group. Ayan. So, sila yung nagbabantay sa, okay, president natin. Ayan. And then, still under, of course, the Norman period, you have there, of course, yung tinatawag natin na Magna Carta. Yan. So, the Magna Carta was sealed by King John of England on June 15, okay, 1215, which became a law upon the demand of the Knights of the Round Table. Okay. So, for the Magna Carta, of course, or known to be the Great Charter, okay, ito po yung nakasaad doon, or yung declarations under the Great Charter. So, sabi doon, or nakasaad doon sa Magna Carta, that no freeman shall be, okay, taken or imprisoned, yan, disposed, outlawed, or bound, except by legal judgment of his peers. Yan. So, ibig sabihin nun na hindi po basta-bastang dadampot ka na lang ng tao, and then of course, i-imprison mo. According of course to this Magna Carta, yan, is hindi pwedeng mangyari yung bagay na yon. Kailangan po muna na merong legal judgment na sinasabi nila before of course, those punishment or things shall be undertaken. So, in our country, Philippines, of course, hindi rin naman pwedeng ganun yung mangyayari because we have this what we so-called due process of law. Okay, so kailangan munang dumaan siya, okay, sa due process. Regarding, of course, this what we so-called imprisonment, hindi mo naman basta-basta i-imprison yung isang tao. Dadaan pa rin siya sa tinatawag natin na due process of law. And then the next one there is, no person should be tried for murder unless there is a proof of the body of the victim. So, ibig sabihin, hindi po pwedeng yung isang tao ay anong tawag dito? Matratry o di kaya ay magkakaroon ng trial, okay, against or for committing a crime of murder if wala namang, okay, proof na meron siyang pinatay, or kailangan po nila yung tinatawag natin na proof of the body of this what is so-called victim. Ayan. So, next one there, of course, is, there should be a national and local government as well as national and local legislations. Yan. So, dito sa ating bansang Pilipinas, ganun na rin po yung nangyayari, di ba? So, mayroon po tayong national governments, of course, as well as this what we so-called local governments. At nagkakaroon po tayo ng national legislations, okay, or making of laws, as well as of course yung tinatawag natin na local okay, legislations. Ayan. Okay, so you should have take note that of course itong declarations or the three declarations of the Great Charter known to be the Magna Carta of course are being also observed in our country at present. Ayan. Okay, so moving further, we have now of course the Westminster period. Okay, so under this of course we have the Statute of Winchester. So under the Statute of Winchester, of course, it was enacted, okay, and introduced the system of this what is so-called watch and ward. Ayan. So pag sinabing watch and ward, parang kumbaga is it has something to do or at present it has something to do with this tinatawag natin na presence of the police officers on the street of course will what we so-called prevent the commission of criminal activities or prevent persons okay, who has a plan to do criminal activities. Ayan. Next one there, of course, is the Statute of 1295, I suppose. Okay, so it was introduced, or it introduced the closure of the gates of London, which started the observation of curfew hours. So, ayan, okay, during this period of time, nagkakaroon na sila ng conception of ideas na okay, magkakaroon tayo ng curfew hours. Ayan. And then, violation of curfew hours. Of course, curfew hours are being observed, of course, in our country, Philippines. Okay, and it was localized on the different municipalities, cities, okay, of the Philippines. So, the violations of curfew hours, okay, in our country, of course, in most cases, yan, are usually committed by minors, okay, or yung mga kabataan, ayan, and it is considered as status offenses. So, ano nga ba yung tinatawag natin na status offenses? So, basically, of course, pag sinabi nating status offenses, then we are referring to those, okay, which discriminate only a child. Ayan. Okay? While an adult committing similar acts does not suffer any penalty. Ayan. So, parang kumbaga is status in the sense that, of course, because they are okay, minors, then of course, saklaw sila under these curfew hours. While in fact, of course, pagka hindi naman po sila minor, then ibig sabihin, of course, they cannot be, okay, violating, of course, yung tinatawag natin na curfew hours. So, they will not be, okay, meeting any penalty na nakasaad doon sa violation of curfew hours. Okay? Yan. And then, we have also yung tinatawag natin na justice of peace. Yan. So, pagdating naman sa justice of peace, of course, this is basically a position yan, given to okay, respectable citizens. Yan. So, ano naman yung function niya dito? Of course, the right to arrest. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, pwede po siyang nabigyan po siya ng karapatan para mang-arrest ng tao as well as of course to imprison offenders. Yan. Okay? So in the Philippines of course, okay, this right is given to police officers who are called peace officers under the rules of court. Ayan. So kung noon, sila po yung tinatawag na justice of peace, okay? At binibigyan ng karapatan para okay, magsagawa ng arrest or mag-imprison ng tao. Ngayon, of course, okay, or under the prison system in the Philippines, of course, sila po, okay, yung tinatawag natin na mga police officers. Ayan. And then, still under the Westminster period, we have the Star Chamber Court. Okay, so if you are going to take a look at this, it was established as a special court to try offenders against the state. Yan. So, later on, yan, it became both, yan, court of law, which determines civil rights. Yan. So, yan, Tinitignan niya rin niya yung mga karapatang pantao, as well as of course a court of revenue to enrich the treasury. So yun po yung ginagampanan ng Star Chamber Court during the Westminster period. Okay? Ayan. So, tapos na po tayo sa Westminster period. Okay, still, of course, take note, still England pa rin yan. So, papasok po tayo sa tinatawag natin na modern period. So, we have King Charles II. So, during his reign, King Charles, of course, he passed a law which provides employment of night watchmen or bellmen. Ayan. So, tinawag po silang night watchmen or bellmen. So, ano po yung ginagawa ng mga yan? Of course, they are going to render duty, okay, from sunset to sunrise. Ibig sabihin, okay, mag-uumpisa po sila sa hapon hanggang sa kinaumagahan. Okay? So, ano po yung gagampanan ng mga yan or gagawin ng mga yan? Of course, still they are going to, okay, make sure, of course, or to maintain or ensure that there would be peace and order. Yan. In the area. Ayan. So, accordingly, okay, they are also known as rattle watch, okay? Because they basically carry among with them yung tinatawag natin na rattles. Kumbaga ito po yung parang whistle ngayon, okay, na hinahawakan ng mga police officers, okay, while they are on duty. Ayan. So, they basically carry rattles, they blow the rattles, of course, okay, to ensure, of course, their public presence. Na kumbaga, ang ipinapahiwatig nila doon is that, of course, they are on the watch. Yan. So, andoon po sila. Parang kagaya nga ng nabanggit natin kanina, of course, na parang kung andun yung mga police officers, say for example, in the at present, then ibig sabihin of course that yung mga masasamang loob hindi sila makapagsagawa o hindi nila maisasagawa yung mga plano nilang gumawa ng mga kalokohan or criminal activities for the reason of course that ando doon po or may mga police officers. Same as true with this of course, ayan. Kaya kumbaga ito po yung mga sinaunang ginagawa nila that at present of course it's adopted and being practiced, of course, by our police officers. Ayan. Okay. And we have also Henry Fielding. So, tao po yung taong to, of course. So, he was the chief magistrate of Bow Street, London. Yan. So, ano yung ginampanan naman ng tao at ginawa ng taong to? Of course, okay, he organized a group of men known to be Bow Street runners. And basically, they are thief catchers. Ayan. So, during the time, or maybe during the time of Henry Fielding, of course, karamihan siguro ng mga nangyayaring mga krimen doon, of course, ay mga pagnanakaw. Ayan. Kaya parang kumbaga ay survival. Ayan. Kaya ang ginawa ni Henry Fielding, of course, is nag-organize siya ng Bow Street Runners, of course, to go against those thieves. Ayan. So, he later formed the Bow Street Horse Patrol. Ayan. So, from this, ayan, nakapag-isip din siya na gumawa or bumuo ng tinatawag natin na mga Bow Street Horse Patrol. At anong ginagawa nila? They usually maintain, road security among those persons using the road o yung mga nagtra-travel against those highway bandits. Ayan. Still, of course, in line with this, what we so-called pagnanakaw pa rin yan. Ano? Okay? So, yun po yung mga ginagawa ng mga Bow Street Horse Patrol. And then we also have under modern period, under the personality of William Pitt. Yan. So, anong ginawa naman nitong si William Pitt? Of course, in line with the policing system, he proposed a bill. So, nag-propose po siya ng bill for a creation of a police force in London. So, ano yung nakalagay doon sa kanyang proposal? Yung mga police force doon sa London ay sila po yung magiging responsable sa pag-arrest ng mga criminals. Yan. As well as, of course, kay crime prevention. So magsasagawa din po sila, or ang task po nila ay mag-pre-prevent ng mga commission ng crimes which would be a formal continuation supposedly of the mandate of the Bow Street Runners. So parang kumbaga is yung supposedly na ginagampanan ng mga Bow Street Runners during the time or the period or the time of Henry Fielding, itutuloy sana under this proposed bill by William Pitt. But ano yung nangyari? Basically, of course, it did not materialize dahil sa mga opposition. So, inuupos nila, kaya hindi po nagmaterialize at hindi natuloy yung proposal nitong si William Pitt. Ayan. Still under the modern period, of course, we have Sir Robert Peel. So, what's all about this person? So, he introduced the Metropolitan Act that leads to the creation. Ayan. So, inintroduce po niya yung Metropolitan Act, tapos, na-create na po yung tinatawag natin na Metropolitan Police Force of London. Ayan. So, accordingly, of course, it was viewed, or the Metropolitan Police Force of London viewed to be the world's first organized uniform police force. Yan. And it was introduced by Sir Robert Peel. Yan. And it was later on named as Scotland Yard. Yan. So, ayan, si Sir Robert Peel, that being the originator and head of the Scotland Yard, of course, he has earned the title as the father of the modern policing system. Siya po si Sir Robert Peel. Ayan. So furtherly, of course, his plan was the separation of policing and judiciary. Ayan. So gusto niya, of course, na dapat nasiseparate yung ginagampanan ng mga police officers at doon naman sa mga judiciary. And of course, it was also adopted in the Philippines present system. Ayan. So the Philippine criminal justice system, of course, in the Philippines, is now composed of the law enforcement, prosecution, the court, correction, and the community. So ito, ngayon yung bumubuo. Pagdating sa ating bansang Pilipinas, we have the 5 pillars at ito po yung mga yon. Ayan. So as you can see, of course, on the idea or yung plano ni Sir Robert Peel, of course, to separate policing and judiciary, of course, is being observed, of course, in our country, Philippines. Kaya nakikita po natin yan, yung mga different na sangay ng Philippine criminal justice system. So, the law enforcement is separated from prosecution, from court, correction, as well as, but not, of course, to that of the community. But basically, of course, yan, yung sinasabi niya na dapat yung ginagampanan ng mga judiciary, of course, na nagsisettle ng cases, of course, the court, of course, dapat supposedly is, separate na yan, of course. Settling cases or dispute cases should have to be separated from that of the work of police. So, ayan, it was adopted in our country at present. Ayan. So, tapos na po tayo doon, of course, sa England. So, let me trouble you also, of course, to the American policing system. Ayan. So, on the American policing system, it followed, of course, the model which was developed in England. Ayan. So, kagaya nga ng nadidiscuss natin kanina, of course, if you're going to take a look at that, napakarami po ng mga na-introduced, of course, in the land of England regarding, of course, this what we so-called policing system. And therefore, it was adopted, on the American settings. Ayan. So for example, of course, the introduction of the watchman, which was similar to that of the bellman of London. Ayan. So, ina-adapt na po nila yan. So, law enforcement or the United States law enforcement officers who have taken oath to support their constitution and their state and the laws of their agency's jurisdiction are known as sworn law enforcement officers. So what is all about sworn law enforcement officers? Okay, they have the authority to make arrest as well as to carry firearms. Ayan. So for now, pagdating sa ating mga police officers, meron po din po ba silang ganyan authority na magsagawa ng arrest? Yan, of course, meron. And how about, of course, carrying of firearms? As we can see and observe, okay, our police officers are nowadays carrying firearms. Yan. Okay, so we have the classification of the United States law enforcement. So we have it there, the state or yung tinatawag nilang federal special agents or inspectors. So ano yung mga ginagawa ng mga yan? Of course, they are to exercise authority when necessary, whether on or off duty. Ayan, take note on that. Okay, pwede po silang magsagawa ng kanilang sinumpaang tungkulin kahit na naka on duty man sila o di kaya off duty sila. And they are assigned to special geographic jurisdictions such as public college, and university police forces, as well as agencies serving under the transportation systems and facilities. Ayan. Yun po yung mga example ng special geographic jurisdiction where state or federal special agents or inspectors are assigned. Yan. That is under, of course, the United States law enforcement system. Ayan, meron din po silang tinatawag na state police officers. So, ano yung ginagawa ng mga state police officers? They are charged with arresting criminals, patrolling highways, to enforce motor vehicle law and regulations. Yun po yung mga ginagampanan ng mga state police officers na mga yan. So they are of course sometimes called as state troopers or highway patrol officers. Now, in our country Philippines, meron ba tayong ganyan? Of course, if we are going to take a look at this, highway patrol officers, of course, we have now the tinatawag natin na HPG. Ayan. Okay, so sila po yung nagiging gabay ng mga gumagamit sa highway system ng ating bansang Pilipinas, and at the same time sila po yung nagsasagawa ng arrest for those violators of those who are using of course the highway system. Ayan. So it's PG, of course, they are the highway patrol group. Ayan. And then still of course under the United States law enforcement, meron din po silang tinatawag na sheriffs, and deputy sheriffs. So let us go over them. So sheriff, of course, usually they are elected to their post, similar to local or county police chief. Ayan. So sila po yung tinatawag nila na sheriff doon. If you have watched movies regarding pagdating doon sa mga Amerika, meron silang tinatawag na sheriff at sila po yung nagpapatupad ng mga maintenance of peace and order as well as mga batas, the laws, of course, within a certain specific area, county, sabi doon. And they are going to enforce law on county level. So, doon lang sa kanilang jurisdiction as police chief. And then, of course, deputy sheriffs, of course, they have as well law enforcement duties which is similar to those police officers, in the departments. Yan. And then bailiffs, they are pertaining to those police and deputies who provided security in cities and in county courts. So pag sinabi po natin county, of course, it pertains to any major units of administrative or geographic subdivision of certain states in the United States. Yan. So, state and then of course, subdivided into county. Yan. Parang kumbaga is hinati. Kung maalala niyo yung sinabi natin kanina regarding of course the division of sheriff, yung tinatawag nilang 55 districts, parang ganun din po siya dito. Pagdating sa county na sinasabi nila. Yan. So, for what purpose would that be? Of course, that is usually of course, for local or as local government Yan, kaya tinatawag din siya na shire. Yan, yung shire nga na sinasabi natin kanina, distrito or district. Yan. So, county pagdating sa bansang Amerika. And then, meron din po silang tinatawag na detectives pagdating sa United States law enforcement. So, what is all about these detectives? They are plain clothes. Yan, take note. Pag sinabi nating plain clothes, they are in civilian attire. Yan. So, what do they do? Or ano yung ginagampanan ng mga to? Of course, they are investigators who basically gather facts as well as collecting evidence. Yan. Okay, for criminal cases. Ayan. Okay, so they are usually specialized in investigating on one type of violation such as homicide or fraud until arrest is made or case is dropped. And usually, of course, they are also on a rotation basis. Pwede po silang rotate kaysa different type of criminal investigations. But, okay, take note, they are commonly on civilian attire. Plain clothes po sila. Kaya tinatawag silang detectives. Ayan. And then, of course, we have the fish and game wardens. So, fish and game, by the word alone, of course, fish. Yan. So, they enforce fishing, hunting, and boating laws. Kaya, ang ginagawa nila, they usually patrol hunting and fishing areas, as well as to conduct search and rescue operation. Ayan. Nagsasagawa din po sila ng mga investigation of complaints and accidents. Yan, in the aid of prosecuting court cases. Ayan, moving on, of course, you have there the FBI or the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Ayan, so still under the United States law enforcement. So, what is all about this Federal Bureau of Investigation? Ayan, ang mga agents po ng FBI are the government principal investigators. Ayan. Okay, investigating violations of federal laws, okay, and conducting sensitive, okay, security investigations. Ayan. Okay? So, sila po yung mga nagsasagawa ng mga bagay-bagay na yan. Na kumbaga sa ating bansang Pilipinas, okay, dito rin po nakapattern yung tinatawag natin na National Bureau of Investigation o yung NBI pag dito sa ating bansang Pilipinas. Ayan, sensitive cases. So, parang kumbaga is apart from the work of the police officers, okay, pagka yung mga yan ay sensitive and it involves, of course, national security, then basically, of course, the NBI will take charge of its investigation. Ayan. And then, meron din po silang DEA or yung tinatawag nilang Drug Enforcement Administration. So, their agents, of course, ayan, sabi nga doon drug enforcement. So, basically, of course, the agents of the DEA, okay, enforce laws and regulations which are in line or relative to, okay, illegal drugs. Meron din po tayo tinatawag na mga U.S. Marshals and Deputy Marshals. So, ano naman yung mga ginagampanan na mga yan? Usually, of course, they protect federal courts, okay? And to make sure, of course, that, okay, there would be effective operation of the judicial system. So, yun po yung mga U.S. Marshals na tinatawag nila, okay? O yung mga Deputy Marshals nila. Okay? Yan. So, still under the United States law enforcement. So, meron din po tayong tinatawag na BATFI. Yan. So, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. So, ano yung ginagawa ng mga yan? Of course, their agents basically enforce and investigate violations of federal firearms and explosive laws, as well as the federal alcohol and tobacco tax regulations. Ayan. So, parang mas nagiging specific po yung task ng mga yan. And then we have also the U.S. Border Patrol. So, pagdating sa U.S. Border Patrol, of course, ang mga agent nila are basically, kaya nga border, sabi doon, they are basically, of course, guarding, the land and water boundaries of the United States of America. Ayan. If you are to ask kung gaano kalawak po yan, you have over 8,000 miles of international land and water boundaries of America. So yun po yung ginagampanan ng mga US Border Patrol to make sure, of course, that no one can just enter, of course, the United States of America without proper documents. So, ayan. Tapos na po tayo sa England as well as to the United States of America. Then, ayan, balik po tayo sa ating bansang Pilipinas. Okay? So, have a safe trip. Ayan, pabalik ng ating bansang Pilipinas regarding policing system. Start po tayo sa Spanish era. So, during the Spanish era, meron po tayong tinatawag na Carabineros de Seguridad Público. Ayan, talagang Spanish na Spanish po yung terminology, ano? Because it was during the Spanish era. And that was way back 1712. Matagal-tagal na din po yung bagay na yan, ano? So, it was organized to carry out regulations of the state and was given a special commission as custodian of tobacco monopoly. And it was later known as Cuerpo de Carabineros de Seguridad Pública by virtue of a royal decree. Yan. So, still, yan, yun po yung ginagampanan nila, no? Yan. So, yan. Its duties became police-like and more general, which included the prosecution of lawbreakers. So, from that initial task of these Carabineros, yan, at naging Cuerpo de Carabineros de Seguridad Pública, nadagdag na rin po yung kanilang duty, okay, na parang police, okay, police-like, yan. So, ayan, andun po yung tinatawag natin na prosecution of lawbreakers. So, they also prosecute lawbreakers as well as the maintenance of peace and order and the execution or enforcement of law. Subsequently given limited power to discharge duties as port, harbor, and river police. Ayan, yun po yung mga sununod nilang mga duties ng mga Carabineros. Ayan. Okay? And then of course, yan, still, during the Spanish era, meron din po tayong tinatawag na Guardelieros. Yan. So, it was way back 1836. So, ano naman yung tinatawag nilang Guardelieros? So, it's a body of a rural police organization which was established by a royal decree of January 28, 1836. So, ano naman yung nakalagay dito? Of course, it provides that 5% of able-bodied male inhabitants. Parang ganun din sa nangyayari doon sa Europe, di ba? If you remember yung diniscuss natin kanina regarding dito sa tinatawag nilang tithing men, okay? That male factors of 12 years of age should have to form 9, okay? From his neighbors, ayan, or it composed of 9 at tatawagin silang tithing men. Dito sa ating bansang Pilipinas, ayan, nangyari din po yung bagay na yan. That during the Spanish era, ayan, 5% of able-bodied male inhabitants, kaya yun nga lang, hindi sinabi kung ilang taon yung mga yan, okay, of each province, ayan, were to establish, okay, police organization for the tour of duty of 3 years. Hindi ba naman yan, ano? Yan, 5% of the inhabitants in a certain province, okay, will be enlisted in the police service. Yan. At ilang taon silang maninilbihan? Basically, of course, 3 years. Ayan. Ngayon, nangyayari po ba yung bagay na yan? Na yung mga kalalakihan or able-bodied persons, okay, shall be enlisted in the police officers. Of course, for now, wala na po yung bagay na yan. Hindi na po siya na-practice dito at present system because of course those, okay, who shall be enlisted as police officers, okay, shall have of course to undergo the process. Yan. So meron na po tayong mga qualifications for those things. At hindi na lang basta-basta pag ginusto mo, pwede ka nang mag-enlist doon, of course. Okay, in our present system, okay, hindi na po siya ganon. So, hindi na po adapted yung bagay na to. Okay, and then moving on, we have there, of course, the Guardia Civil. Okay, way back 1852. So it was created by the royal decree to, okay, partially relieve Spanish Peninsula troops of their work in policing towns. Ayan. Yan. So, of course, we all know that hindi lang mga Spaniards yung mga conquerors natin, but as well as, of course, pumunta din yung mga Amerikano dito. So, during the American occupation, of course, na-establish po yung tinatawag natin na Insular Police Force. And that was way back 1890. Still matagal-tagal na rin. So, it was established way back November 30, 1890 during the Philippine-American War upon the recommendation of the Philippine Commission to the Secretary of War. So, Insular Police Force means, of course, that they are now, discharged or charged with, the enforcement of laws as well as maintenance of peace and order. So, we have also the Insular Constabulary way back 1901. Ayan, nasa 90s na tayo. Or 18th century. Yan. So, it was created by virtue of Act 175, on July 18, 1901. So, the law was entitled, an act providing for the organization and government of an insular constabulary and for the inspection of the municipal police. Now, that as we go along, of course, with our policing system, nagkakaroon na po siya ng mga revisions. At nakikita natin na nagkakaroon din po siya ng mga updates at gumaganda po yan. Kasi dito, of course, sinasabi dito that dapat magkaroon ng organization as well as in the governance of the insular constabulary as well as to that of those in the municipal level. Ayan. And then we also have this Manila Police Department. Ayan, MPD. So it was organized on July 31, 1901 by virtue of Act 183. So it was Captain George Carey, who is, of course, a U.S. Army officer, was the first chief of police who was appointed by the Taft Commission. That was on August 7, 1901. And then, under the personality of Captain Columbus Piat, he was the last American chief of police of the Manila Police Department. So, inimpusahan po siya ni Captain George Carey. Tapos, it end to Columbus Piat. Ayan. So we have Colonel Antonio Torres, who was the first Filipino to head MPD when it was turned over to the Filipinos. Ayan. Kaya nung tinurn over na ng mga Amerikano, yung Manila Police District under, of course, the Filipinos, ayan, itong si Colonel Antonio Torres ang pinakauna na naging head ng Manila Police Department. So moving on, still under the American occupation, we have it there, of course, the Philippine Constabulary. Yan. So it changes, of course, the Insular Constabulary by virtue of Act 255 with Brigade General Henry Thurman Allen as its first chief. Ayan. So yung Philippine Constabulary, ayan. So napalitan siya ng tinatawag nilang Philippine Constabulary and it was Brigade General Henry Thurman Allen as its first chief. Ayan. Or ito na yung tinatawag natin na PC. If you have heard of such, ayan. Kaya tinawag sila mga Philippine Constabulary, yun po yung ipinalit doon sa Insular Constabulary. So, kay Brigade General Henry Thurman Allen, he introduced, of course, yung tinatawag natin na mga mounted constables. Ayan. If you remember, yung sinabi natin kanina regarding constables, Sila po yung tinatawag natin na mga police officers of today as part of the scheme against insurgents way back 1902. Ayan. So mounted constables, of course, they are basically riding the horse. Ayan. And it was against, of course, insurgents way back 1902. Ayan. So the Polo Club was founded in 1909 in Maid, Manila as a popular tourist destination known as Pearl of the Orient. Yan. So, Polo Club, that's regarding horseback riding. Yan. So, naging popular po siya. Okay? Naging popular yung Manila as a tourist spot. Okay? Naging tourist destination at tinawag po siyang Pearl of the Orient. So, ano naman po yung rule ng Philippine Constabulary during those times? Of course, they basically, of course, played the role of reducing crime, yan, during those time or period of time. Okay, so still the Philippine Constabulary. So the start of World War I paved way for Filipinos to run the Philippine Constabulary. Excuse me. Ayan ano. So nagkaroon na ng part ngayon yung tinatawag natin ng mga Filipinos, of course, running the Philippine Constabulary during the start of World War I because the US, the United States high-ranking officers were pulled out and they were transferred to France. Ngayon, yung mga Filipinos naman ngayon, of course, sila na yung mga humalili ngayon doon sa mga Amerikano. So in December 1917, yan, Brigadier General Rafael Crami, yan, kaya ngayon, of course, sa GHQ ng PNP or the General Headquarters for the PNP, tinatawag na siya na Camp Crami. Yan. So it was taken under the name of General Rafael Crami as the first Filipino to be appointed as the head of PC or yung tinatawag na natin na Philippine Constabulary. Yan. Okay, so take note also that General Rafael Crami served with competence for a matter of 10 years. Matagal-tagal na rin po siya and thereby earning the respect of his men as well as those criminals he captured. Yan. Kaya naging maganda-ganda rin yung tawag natin dito, yung ipinakita nitong si General Rafael Crami noong siya ay nanunungkulan. And then we have the RAC or the Revised Administrative Code of 1917. So this made Philippine Constabulary as a national police institution to preserve peace, keeping order as well as to enforce the law. Yan. National police institution, meaning to say of course that it already covers the entirety. That if you are a member of such, then you can be assigned anywhere. National. So Philippine Constitution 1935, of course. If I'm not mistaken, ito po yung unang-unang lumabas yung Philippine Constitution. So it provides that government shall. So under the Philippine Constitution, ayan, nilalahad doon na yung gobyerno dapat sana ay mag-organize and maintain in national police force. Ayan. Anong gagawin ng mga yan? Basically, of course, to preserve public order and enforce the law. Ayan. So, nakasaad po yan under the Philippine Constitution 1935. Na dapat meron pong National Police Force or nagmi-maintain po siya ng National Police Force to preserve public order as well as to enforce the law. Ayan. And then, of course, we have the Kimpitay way back 1942. So, Kimpitay, accordingly, of course, they are the first element of the Japanese Imperial Army, who entered Manila way back January to 1942, and this was during, of course, the advent of the World War II. Ayan. So, nakapasok na rin po yung mga yan. So, the corps member were called Kimpei. Ayan. So, Kimpitay literally means military police corps, which was organized, not to discharge public service, but to perform functions of the military police for the Imperial Japanese Navy under the direction of Admiralty Minister. Ayan. Kaya nung pumasok po sila dito sa dating bansang Pilipinas, of course, not to perform this, but of course, para i-perform yung uh, function nila as a military police under the Imperial Japanese Navy, and that was under or during the advent of World War II. Ayan. And then, of course, in our current system, ayan, wala na po yung mga Spaniards at wala na rin po yung mga Amerikano. Ayan. So, it's now the Filipinos running, of course, the policing system. So, in line with it, of course, we have Republic Act 157, and that was way back 1947. So, the law established the National Bureau of Investigation. So, ito na po yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina regarding, of course, the FBI of the United States of America. Okay, pagdating sa ating lugar o sa ating bansa, okay, ito po yung kanyang counterpart. But basically, of course, the National Bureau of Investigation was blueprinted, of course, doon sa Federal Bureau of Investigation. It was established way back 1947, June 19. So, ano yung mga ginagawa nito? It provides the function, or the Republic Act provides the function for the National Bureau of Investigation as well as the manner of appointing the head of the Bureau. So, the law also abolished the divisions of investigation of the Department of Justice during the creation of the National Bureau of Investigation. So, pagdating sa kanila, NBI, ang ginagampanan nila, of course, is yan. They are also investigating sensitive cases. Yan. So, apart from the police officers, nagsasagawa din po yung NBI ng mga investigations. Pero, pangkaraniwan sa kanila, yung mga medyo sensitive cases nga. Yan. And then, of course, we have Republic Act 4864, 1966. So, this was enacted on August 8, 1966, otherwise known as Police Act of 1966, which created a police commission under the office of the President of the Philippines. Ayan. So, yung police commission na yan, it was under the President of the Philippines. Ayan. And then, we have here the composition of the, police commission under Republic Act 4864. So, we have the chairman, and we have the 2 regular members, as well as the ex officio members. So, for the chairman, of course, accordingly, the chairman and the 2 regular members of the National Police Commission, NAPOLCOM, NAPOLCOM po is National Police Commission, were appointed by the President, but with the consent of the Commission on Appointment. So, they shall hold office for a term of 7 years and may not be reappointed. Ayan po, yung chairman at saka yung kanyang regular members. Then how about the ex officio members? Basically, the director of the National Bureau of Investigation and the chief of the Philippine Constabulary were considered as the ex officio members of the Police Commission. Ayan. And then, we have it now, the Republic Act 6040, way back 1969. So, it amended certain provisions of Republic Act 2260, known as the Civil Service Act of 1969. So, under this, it empowered the Police Commission to give examinations. Ayan. So, magbibigay na sila. The National or the NAPOLCOM will be giving examinations for officers and members of the local police, which is until now nangyayari pa rin yung bagay na yan. Yan. And but take note, with the assistance of the Civil Service Commission. So it's not the Civil Service Commission that gives, of course, examination to police officers or members of the police officers, but the NAPOLCOM. Ina-assist lang po sila ng CEC or the Civil Service Commission. So accordingly, this was perhaps the first move to professionalize the police force. Ayan, because noon, kahit hindi ka po baccalaureate degree holder, pwede ka pa rin pumasok sa police force. Pero ngayon na, yan, nag-i-establish na sila, sinasabi nila na, ayan, okay, it's the first move to professionalize the police force. Okay? Then, moving on, we have the Republic Act 6506 of 1972, or otherwise known as an act creating the board examiners for criminologists in the Philippines and for other purposes, which took effect July 1, 1972. So, during those times, ayan na. Okay? Dapat okay, criminologist ka at dapat pumapasa ka na rin sa tinatawag natin na board exam before you can enter police service. Yan, that was provided under Republic Act 6506. Ayan, so we have it here, of course, the important provisions of the Republic Act 6506. So, creation of a board of examiners for criminologists. Ayan. So, dapat meron ng board of examiners for criminologists. It was provided under Republic Act 6506. Provision of subject areas. Ayan. Kaya ngayon, of course, sa board exam ng criminology, of course, may mga areas po tayo doon. So, it was provided under this with corresponding weights. Ayan. Kaya, nakalagay na po doon kung ilang weights. Of course, 100% po yan, and it was divided into areas. For now, we have 6 areas, of course. Okay, provides definition for a criminologist. Yan. And, kung ano po ba yung ibig sabihin ng criminologist, as well as on the practice of the profession. Yan, the criminology. Okay, so also it provides exemption for certified criminologist, from entrance or qualifying government civil service examination or identified government positions. Nagbibigay din po siya ng mga exemptions doon. Okay, for those who are certified criminologists. Ayan, and take note, since I am using the book of Dr. Timpak et al., then of course I will be requiring you also to go over those, to read on it, as regards the detailed information regarding this matter, because of course we don't have all day long for that matter. Kaya sinasabi ko po na kailangang basahin din po ninyo. And I do suppose, of course, that you have a copy of the book. Maganda po siya, no? The way it was presented there. So, from cover to cover, ayan, you need to read on that because I will also be utilizing that as my, as my reference on this subject. So, I am also advising you to go over the book, Kasi kung titignan mo yan is halos andun na lahat ng kailangan mong malaman regarding the subject matter. Ayan. And then of course, kung meron tayong 1935 Constitution, of course, nagkaroon po ng 1973 Philippine Constitution. Ayan. So, it provides the establishment and maintenance of integrated national police force whose organization, so ayan, naging INP na po siya, no? From the Philippine Constabulary, naging integrated national police na po siya, INP. Ayan. So, organization, administration, as well as operation shall be provided by law that leads to the enactment of several laws for this purpose. Kaya nung sinabi ng Philippine Constitution na dapat meron na po tayong integrated national police. Ayan. And the organization, administration, and operation shall have to be provided by law. Kaya ang nangyari, nag-enact na po sila ng mga different laws for that purpose. And that's the reason behind, of course, the enactment of Presidential Decree 4, 2, and 1. And that was way back 1974. So integrated, the city, municipal police force in jail fire departments within the Manila area. So the integrated police force was headed by a commanding general kay Philippine Constabulary Metropolitan Command. Ayan. Tinawag po yan na within the Metro Manila, tinawag po yan na PCK Metrocom. Ayan. Okay, so anong ginagampanan ng mga yan? They are tasked, okay, for public safety enforcement of laws as well as the maintenance of peace and order within territorial limits of cities and municipalities of Manila. So yun po yung ginagampanan nila. Okay, and then the other laws relative of course to that of the 1973 Constitution, ayan, ito po yung mga ibang batas na ginawa nila, of course, relative to that, to that matter. So, yan. We have the it integrates the police, okay, fire and jail departments, okay. Kanina, of course, kay 421 is basically, of course, within the Metro Manila, pero ngayon, it's, of course, the entirety of the Philippines. Ayan, in-integrate na po yung mga bagay na yan. Okay, so in such case, Chief of Constabulary was given the proper, okay, or the power, I should say, to designate the head of the integrated departments in each province and city from among officers of the Philippine Constabulary. Yun po yung medyo ginagampanan nito, Chief of the Constabulary. Kaya parang pag ngayon sa ating bansang Pilipinas, of course, is yun din po yung ginagawa ng Chief of the Philippine National Police. Yan. So, they are tasked, of course, for public safety enforcement of laws as well as the maintenance of peace and order within its territorial limits. Take note on this. On its province, cities within their specific areas of jurisdiction. Ayan. And then we have the Presidential Decree 765, way back 1975. So, the integration of three departments, I should say, yan, Philippine Constabulary, yan, or PC, Fire Department, and Jail Department was later on known as the Philippine Constabulary Integrated National Police under Presidential Decree 7, 6, and 5. Ayan, kaya from INP or PC, PC, tapos INP, tapos ngayon, naging PC, INP na siya. Okay, Philippine Constabulary Integrated National Police. Ayan. Okay, so we have here the features of the Presidential Decree 765. Okay, so on the Presidential Decree 765, basically it established the Integrated National Police, which shall composed of the Philippine Constabulary as the nucleus, and the integrated police forces, the fire department and jail department as component, and said departments are under the Department of National Defense. That was provided under Section 1 of Presidential Decree 765. At present, the Philippine National Police or the PNP, the BFP or the Bureau of Fire Protection, as well as the Bureau of Jail Management, Bureau of Jail Management and Criminology are under the Department of Interior, and Local Government, otherwise known as the DILG. Yan. Okay? So sila na po yung nagiging tri-bureau at present na sinasabi natin. The tri-bureaus of the DILG, which is the PNP, the BFP, and of course the BGMP. So they may be integrated with each other, but may be directed by the President to assist the armed forces of the Philippines in times of national emergency, which was provided under Section 3 of the Republic Act 8551. Okay? Ayan. And then, still under Presidential Decree 765. Okay? So, it also empowered the Chief Constabulary to prescribe the table of organization and equipments, as well as rank or position titles, the functions, the duties and powers of various staffs, installations, and other unit of the INP subject to the approval of Secretary of the National Defense provided under Section 4 of Presidential Decree 76 and 5. Ayan. So, for now, at present, the different functions of the Chief Constabulary are now at present being exercised by the National Police Commission. Ayan. So, parang siya na yung National Police Commission ngayon as provided under Section 14 of Republic Act 8551. Okay? And then, another one, of course, still, of course, under this presidential decree. So, it directed that regular members of the Integrated National Police shall be employees of the national government, and it was provided under Section 6 of this presidential decree. So, this provision of the PD 765, I should say, is maintained at present under Republic Act 8551. That the uniformed members of the PNP shall be considered employees of the national government, and shall draw salaries therefrom. Ayan. Kaya ngayon, of course, ang Philippine National Police po natin ay employee po sila ng national government, and of course, doon po sila sumasahod. Kaya pag kayo naging police officers, ganun din po yung mangyayari. Okay, so still going back under Presidential Decree 765. So on its features, it's also enunciated that the Philippine Constabulary was a major service of the armed forces of the Philippines to its current law enforcement functions as principal component of the Integrated National Police. So this provision of the Presidential Decree 765 it's no longer applicable at present because by the express provision of the Constitution, the Philippine National Police is civilian in character. Yan, that was provided under Section 6, Article 16 of the Philippine Constitution. Okay, next or another one. Okay, the features. So it enunciated also that the Integrated National Police shall be subjected to the command and general supervision of the President of the Philippines and shall function directly under the Department of National Defense. It was provided under Section 7 of Presidential Decree 76 and 5. Now, at present, of course, the PNP is under the administration of the NAPOLCOM and is one of the component of the Triburos of the DILG. Provided under Section 23 of Republic Act 697 and 5. Moving on. Yan. It designated the Secretary of National Defense as chairman of the NAPOLCOM. At present, the chairman of the NAPOLCOM is the Secretary of the DILG, provided under Section 4 of the Republic Act 8551. Ayan. And furtherly, of course, we have also Presidential Decree 1184, way back 1977, otherwise known as the Integrated National Police Personnel Professionalization Act of 1977. Ayan. So, ito na siya, no? So, nagiging na-professionalize na po yung, yung National Police natin. Ayan. So, on its features, the highest rank in the police force was given the rank of Police Brigadier General and the lowest rank as patrolman under Section 3 of Presidential Decree 1184. So at present, the highest rank is Police General and the lowest rank is patrolman. And this was provided, bago lang po to, under Republic Act 200 entitled An Act Providing the Rank Classification in the PNP, amending. Yan. So it amends Section 28 of Republic Act 6975. Basically, doon po kasi inilagay yung mga rankings. Ngayon, it was amended by Republic Act 11200. At ito na po yung nakalagay doon. As amended otherwise, the DILG Act of 1990, it was signed into law on March 25, 2019. So for other, or for the completeness of the ranks of the PNP or the Philippine National Police at present, of course, I am also requiring you to read on Republic Act 11200. Ayan. So, there should be at least one policeman in every 1,000 inhabitants provided under Section 4 of the Presidential Decree 1184. So, at present, the police to population ratio is one policeman for every 500 person. Ayan. The actual strength, take note the actual strength in cities and municipalities shall depend on the state of peace and order. Ayan. Kaya kung medyo magulo-gulo yan, of course, then most probably, mas marami, yung ratio is mas bababa siya. Okay? Ayan. Into a particular population density also, yung karami ng mga population doon, the actual demand of service in a particular area. However, the minimum police to population ratio shall not be less than one policeman for every 1,000 persons. Ibig sabihin, for every 1,000 person, kailangan meron lang 2 o 3 or 5, depending of course on the case to that the peace and order, the population density, and of course the service it requires on that certain area. Okay? So, in urban areas, ayan. Okay? So, sa mga urban areas, a higher minimum, police to population ratio may be prescribed by the regulations. Okay? So, still under Presidential Decree 1184, on its feature, it provides that the educational qualification of a person entering police force is at least, ang sinasabi dito sa presidential decree na to, at least high school graduate to be appointed to the lowest rank, but for those personnel to be appointed or assignment in city stations must have finished at least second year college. Yun po yung nakalagay dyan under Presidential Decree 1184. So, nag-a-apply po ba siya ngayon? At present, of course, the minimum educational qualification entering police force is at least a baccalaureate degree holder. That was provided under Section 14, Paragraph D of Republic Act 8551. Ibig sabihin, of course, kailangan umayos-ayos kayo. Kailangan din na tapusin ninyo yung degree ninyo as Criminology nang sa ganun ay makapasok kayo sa PNP force. Okay? And then, ayan, still under Presidential Decree 1184, so women may be appointed in the police service for assignment in youth. Ayan, so nakasaad din dito na yung mga kababaihan ay pwede na rin silang ma-appoint as in the police service. Saan sila ma-assign? Sa youth, juvenile control units, jail matrons, police operations, activities where policeman service is needed. And a total number of female in the police force nationwide, shall not exceed 5% of the total strength of the police force, which was provided under Section 18 of the Presidential Decree 11 and 84. 5% po yung nire-require niya doon. Ngayon, the PNP established the women's desk. And yun po, doon po pangkaraniwang na-assign yung mga kababaihan sa police force to handle cases and abuses against women and children, which was provided under Section 57 of Republic Act 8551. So, in response to the creation of the women's desk, of course, the PNP now reserves 10% of its annual recruitment. Kaya yung mga kababaihan, nakalaan sa inyo yung 10%, of course, within the police first on annual recruitment, training, education, for women, which was provided under Section 58 of Republic Act 8551. And then retirement from police service, jail, custodial, and fire personnel of the INP or Integrated National Police shall be automatic and compulsory upon reaching the age of 60 years for those ranks, of police or fire lieutenant, and upon reaching the age of 55 for those ranks of patrolman or fireman up to police fire sergeant, provided under Section 33 of Presidential Decree, Section 33. But at present, ngayon, the compulsory retirement age for policeman is 56 regardless of his rank, which was provided under Section 14, Paragraph D of Republic Act 8551. And then, we have the Philippine Constitution 1987, which provides that the state shall establish and maintain one police force which shall be national in scope and civilian in character. Ayan. So what do you mean by national in scope? Okay? So yan, since of course tinatawag natin ngayon na yung mga members of the PNP are under national in scope. So uniform members of the PNP are employees of the national government and shall draw salaries therefrom. Another one is that the process concerning recruitment until termination of the PNP members are governed by rule laid down by the national government. And then PNP members may be assigned to the different areas in the Philippines, kaya nga national in scope, when needed, especially in the exercise of the calling out power of the president. That was taken on the book of Dr. Timpak et al., which incorporates also his idea on Section 36 of Republic Act 855 and 1. Ayan, civilian in character also, national in scope and civilian in character. So what do you mean by civilian in character? The phrase means that the PNP members are not governed by military rules. So the PNP are the ones in charge with the internal security of the Philippines, while the armed forces of the Philippines are the ones in charge with the external security of the country. Thus, the PNP has no role in the suppression of insurgency, except in the information gathering and in the performance of its ordinary police functions supporting the armed forces of the Philippines on matters of suppression of insurgency. Still taken under the book of Dr. Timpak et al., which incorporates Section 3, Article 2 of 1987 Philippine Constitution and Section 3 of the Republic Act 855 and 1. And then Republic Act 6975, 1990, which was approved December 13, recognized as the DILG Act of 1990, it established that the Philippine National Police, a merger of PCINP. Ayan. Kaya naging Philippine National Police na siya. From Philippine Constabulary Integrated National Police, naging Philippine National Police po siya. Ayan. So created the NAPOLCOM to administer and control the PNP. Further enforce the policy for PNP on national in scope and civilian in character, and this was known as the implementing law on the Section 6, Article 16 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. And then we have, of course, the Republic Act 8551, known as the PNP Reform and Organization Act of 1998. So it amended some provisions of the Republic Act 6975 concerning the PNP, which had the purpose of reforming and professionalizing the PNP. Kaya kagaya nga ng sinasabi natin kanina, kung noon sa PC, INP, pwedeng high school graduate or second year college, ngayon, kailangan na talagang nakatapos na siya ng baccalaureate degree. So Republic Act 9263 of 2004, known as the Bureau of Fire Protection, yan, and Bureau of Jail Management and Criminology Professionalization Act yan. So it follows also on the other bureaus of the DILG. So it revised some provisions of Republic Act 6975, particularly on those pertaining to Bureau of Fire Protection as well as the Bureau of Jail Management and Criminology. Kaya ayan. So from PNP, ayan, the other bureaus of the Department of Interior and Local Government, yan, nagiging professionalize na rin po sila under Republic Act 9263. And then we have Republic Act 9708. So an act extending for 5 years the reglementary period for complying with the minimum educational qualification for appointment to the PNP and adjusting promotion thereof, amending certain provisions of 6975 and 8551. Of course, we cannot deny the fact that some members of from PCINP to PNP, noong pumasok sila, hindi pa sila graduate ng kolehiyo. Kaya ang nangyari ngayon, ayan, lumabas yung Republic Act 9708 na yan, way back 2009, para magbigay ng at least 5 years extension for those who are not baccalaureate degree holders to finish their degree. Ayan, yan po yung ibinigay under 9708. And then Republic Act 11131. So this law regulates the practice of criminology profession, ayan, in the Philippines and appropriating thereof, repealing for the purpose Republic Act 6506. Kaya ngayon, wala na po si 6506, ayan. Andito na po yung Republic Act 11131. So we are going to deal with that furtherly, or yan nga, pakibasa na lang yung book ni na Dr. Timpak at yung si Sir Alviar and Sir Felix for that purpose kasi halos nandyan na po sila lahat. Kaya kung wala pa kayong kopya ng libro, kailangang magkaroon kayo kasi yun po yung gagamitin natin throughout the semester. I am uh, requiring you of course to have the book ng sa ganun at least mabasa ninyo yung lahat ng mga pinag-uusapan natin dito. Okay? So this video of course is created to further enhance or to what we call that, para nang sa ganun is mas maunawaan natin of course yung nakasaad doon. And then of course, moving on, we have Republic Act 11-200. So, natakal na natin ito kanina. The Act provides rank classification. Ito na yung bagong classification, rank classification for the PNP as of today. Ayan. So, it amends, okay, Section 28 of Republic Act 6975. Okay. Ayan. Kaya napalitan ngayon ulit yung rankings, police rankings ng Philippine National Police. So, thank you very much for that. So, kindly review the video because I will be giving some task regarding this matter. So, view the video, review, and then I will be giving activities in line with this video. Ayan. Most probably by next week. Ayan. If I will be able to launch again another video. So, ganito na lang yung gagawin natin. So, for every video, of course, there's a corresponding activity which will be given upon you. Could either be a recitation, okay, a quiz by net, mga ganun. So, kailangan po yung pagka finoward ko na po yung link sa inyo, then kailangan nyo pong i-view yung video, panoorin ninyo, okay, analyze, and then, okay, pagka andun na tayo sa quiz, then of course, at least masasagot nyo kung ano yung tatanong natin doon sa activities natin regarding this video. Okay, so thank you everyone. Okay, still, we are still under the pandemic, so stay safe always. Okay, so once again, Darwin B. Batawang, your instructor for this subject. So, thank you and once again, stay safe. Okay?